All right, Yankees fans, it's time to talk about what could be one of the biggest priorities for New York heading into the 2026 season. The offseason has already started to heat up, and the Yankees front office is once again under the spotlight. Every move, every rumor, every decision that Brian Cashman makes right now is being watched closely by fans who are desperate to see this team get back to its dominant ways. After another roller coaster season in 2025, there's no doubt that improvements need to happen, especially in that bullpen, which at times looked elite, but in other moments couldn't find consistency when it mattered most. Brian Cashman has built his reputation on being able to make bold, calculated moves, whether that means pulling off blockbuster trades or signing under-the-radar players who later turn into key contributors. Over the years, he's proven that he knows how to assemble a roster capable of contending. But as great as the Yankees lineup has looked on paper, the bullpen is what truly defines how far this team can go when the postseason arrives. And that's exactly where the conversation around Tyler Rogers begins. Rogers is coming off one of the most impressive stretches of his entire career. With San Francisco, he delivered an earned run average barely above 1.8 across more than 50 appearances, showing incredible poise and control on the mound. When he was traded to the Mets at the deadline, some wondered if he could handle the pressure of New York. Not only did he handle it, he thrived. He kept dealing, posting an ERA around 2.3 over nearly 30 more games. That kind of consistency, especially in such a tough market, is exactly what the Yankees bullpen has been missing. What makes Tyler Rogers so fascinating isn't just the numbers. It's the way he pitches. His sidearm, almost submarine delivery throws hitters completely off balance. It's awkward, deceptive, and completely unorthodox, but it works. Batters rarely get clean contact off him, and even when they do, it's often weak grounders or easy fly balls. Having a pitcher like that late in games could completely change the dynamic for the Yankees. Imagine a setup duo where Rogers comes in during the 6th or 7th inning, completely shutting things down before handing the ball over to a dominant closer like David Bednar. That's the type of bullpen depth every championship team needs. Now, the Yankees bullpen wasn't bad statistically in 2025. In fact, they finished among the top 5 in baseball by most metrics. But those numbers don't tell the full story. Mid-season slumps and inconsistent stretches made it hard for the team to hold on to close leads. Luke Weaver had his struggles transitioning between starting and relieving, while Devin Williams, who was expected to be a stabilizing force, dealt with ups and downs all year long. Things improved late in the season, but the cracks were still visible, especially in that tough playoff stretch against Toronto. That's why adding a reliable arm like Rogers could be such a game changer. He doesn't need to be the closer. He doesn't need the spotlight. He just needs to come in, get outs, and give the team a chance to win. That's the beauty of a pitcher like him. He's efficient, experienced, and thrives under pressure. And let's not forget, he's already familiar with pitching in New York. Even if his time with the Mets was short, it gave him valuable experience in a high-intensity environment, something not every player can handle. The Yankees are built to compete every single season. With a rotation anchored by Garrett Cole, Max Fried, and Carlos Rodon, plus young arms like Luis Gil and Will Warren ready to contribute, the foundation is already strong. But as every fan knows, a dominant bullpen is what separates good teams from great ones. You can have the best starters in the world, but if the relief corps can't close the door, all that effort goes to waste. That's why this offseason could be one of the most important in recent memory. Rogers' age also works in his favor. At 34, turning 35 soon, he's got the perfect blend of veteran experience and physical ability. He's seen it all: big games, tight innings, late-season pressure, and he's handled it with calm and focus. When you combine that with his ability to stay healthy and deliver consistent performances over a long season, he fits exactly what the Yankees are missing. A one-year deal could make perfect sense, giving both sides flexibility while giving New York an instant boost in reliability. Fans remember how the Yankees bullpen looked back in 2024, locked in, dominant, unstoppable during the postseason. That version of the bullpen gave the team confidence every single night. 2025, however, was different. There were flashes of greatness, but also long stretches where things just didn't click. Rogers could bring back that edge, that sense of security every time the game reached the later innings. Another thing to consider is how Rogers' presence could positively impact the rest of the relievers. Having someone with his unique delivery and steady mindset could take pressure off other pitchers, allowing them to focus on their specific roles instead of being forced into unfamiliar situations. With Rogers in the mix, the Yankees could better structure the bullpen, set roles, defined innings, and a clear strategy to attack opponents from start to finish. There's also the leadership factor. A bullpen isn't just about arms. It's about chemistry and trust. Rogers is known as a no-excuses type of player, a guy who shows up every day, ready to pitch, ready to compete. That kind of attitude spreads quickly through a clubhouse, especially one as tradition-rich as the Yankees. When you have veterans setting the tone, the younger players follow. It's the kind of culture the team has been trying to rebuild since those dominant late 2000s years. Of course, there are still a few questions. Will the Yankees bring back Devin Williams? Will Luke Weaver continue as a reliever, or will he attempt to return to the rotation? And if they do land Rogers, how will that affect other bullpen spots like Fernando Cruz or Camilo Doval? These are the decisions that will shape the team's identity next season. But what seems clear is that New York wants reliability, guys who can handle the pressure and perform from opening day through October. Tyler Rogers checks every box. He's consistent, deceptive, durable, and battle-tested. He's not a flashy name that dominates headlines, but he's the type of arm that helps teams win championships. Sometimes the most important signings are the ones that don't make the biggest noise, but make the biggest impact once the games start to matter. And that's the kind of addition Yankees fans have been hoping for. After a season filled with ups and downs, adding a proven, steady reliever could be exactly what the Bronx needs to bring back that fear factor in late innings. With Rogers possibly joining forces with Bednar, Cruz, and others, this bullpen could quietly turn into one of the toughest units in all of baseball again. So as the offseason unfolds and the rumors start to heat up, keep an eye on this story. The Yankees have the money, the need, and the motivation to make it happen. If they do, the entire dynamic of the pitching staff changes, and suddenly that long-awaited return to October dominance might not seem so far away. When you take a deeper look at what the Yankees truly need to push over the edge, it becomes more and more obvious that a dependable bullpen is the foundation of everything. The lineup already has power and depth. The rotation, while still finding balance, looks strong with Garrett Cole, Max Fried, and Carlos Rodon leading the way. But the real difference between a good season and a championship run often comes down to those late innings. That is why someone like Tyler Rogers fits perfectly into what this team has been trying to build since the collapse of the bullpen depth that used to define the franchise's dominance. The interesting thing about Rogers is that his approach completely changes the tempo of a game. When he steps on the mound, hitters are forced to adjust in ways they rarely have to. His sidearm delivery creates angles that mess with timing, and that makes him unpredictable. Baseball is a game of rhythm, and Rogers disrupts it completely. The moment he enters, the opposing dugout has to start thinking differently about how to attack him. For the Yankees, that unpredictability could be the perfect weapon, especially in tight matchups where one mistake can shift momentum entirely. You can almost imagine Yankee Stadium roaring as Rogers throws that first deceptive pitch. The crowd loves energy, and his strange delivery would immediately stand out. Beyond the entertainment factor, though, his reliability would allow Aaron Boone to manage the bullpen with much more confidence. Instead of constantly worrying about who can handle pressure situations, he could turn to Rogers knowing he's going to throw strikes, get ground balls, and keep his composure no matter how intense the moment. That's the kind of steady hand this bullpen needs. It's also important to remember how long the Yankees have been searching for stability in the middle innings. Over the past few years, there's been a constant rotation of arms. Young prospects trying to find their footing, veterans on short contracts hoping to revive their careers, and relievers asked to fill roles that don't suit their strengths. That lack of structure has created inconsistency, and inconsistency leads to blown leads. Rogers would immediately bring definition to the bullpen hierarchy. He's not the closer, but he's the guy who bridges the gap between the starter and the final inning, a job that often goes unnoticed but wins countless games. Numbers don't lie either. An earned run average under 2 across more than 80 appearances is not a coincidence. That level of production shows not only talent, but also endurance and mental toughness. Few relievers can maintain that kind of performance over a full season, especially when switching teams mid-year. Rogers did it in San Francisco, then did it again under the bright lights of New York. That proves he can handle the pressure that comes with wearing the Yankees uniform. The Yankees organization knows exactly how valuable that is. The Bronx is not an easy place to play. Expectations are sky high, and every mistake is magnified. For some players, that weight becomes too much. But for others, it brings out the best version of themselves. Rogers showed with the Mets that he thrives on intensity. That's a rare trait, one that perfectly aligns with what the Yankees are built around: resilience, grit, and the ability to perform when it matters the most. If Cashman can land him on a short-term contract, it could also give the Yankees flexibility for future moves. They wouldn't be locking themselves into a long commitment, but they'd still be getting a proven asset. A one-year deal would let Rogers showcase what he can do in a championship environment, while the team benefits from his experience and leadership. It's a move that makes sense from every angle, financially, strategically, and culturally. And speaking of leadership, there's something to be said about having players who set the tone in the clubhouse. Rogers is the kind of pitcher who leads by example. He's not loud, he's not flashy, but his consistency speaks volumes. Young arms like Luis Gil and Will Warren could learn a lot from observing his preparation, his mental approach, and how he handles adversity. Those lessons carry value far beyond one season, helping shape the next generation of Yankees pitching. Fans often focus on the big-name signings, the superstar bats, or the ace starters, but championships are usually built on depth and reliability. The little things, the quiet moves that solidify a roster, often become the turning points of a season. Adding Rogers would fall into that category. He's not going to make daily headlines, but when October arrives and games tighten up, his presence could make all the difference between heartbreak and triumph. It's also worth noting how adding Rogers could change the strategy for opposing teams. Managers would have to rethink their lineups when facing the Yankees late in games. Left-handed batters who normally thrive against traditional right-handers might struggle with his unique release point. That kind of matchup advantage can't be underestimated in playoff baseball. Every out counts, and every small edge can swing a series. While nothing is official yet, all signs suggest that the Yankees front office is aware of the opportunity. They've been monitoring the bullpen market closely, and Rogers is exactly the type of player they tend to pursue: experienced, consistent, and capable of performing under pressure. Bringing him to the Bronx would send a clear message that the team isn't just aiming for a solid season, but for another legitimate championship push. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. Baseball fans are buzzing with one of the most tantalizing rumors of the season. Sources whisper that VLADIMIR Guerrero Jr., the Toronto Blue Jays' young powerhouse, could be heading to the New York Yankees. The mere idea of Guerrero donning the pinstripes has set social media ablaze and ignited heated debates among analysts and fans alike. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the chatter around the league points to a deal that combines raw talent, potential, and a blockbuster contract, elements that have fueled speculation for weeks. Guerrero, known for his prodigious power and the kind of contact that keeps pitchers up at night, would be an immediate game-changer in the Bronx. The Yankees, long on tradition and ambition, are rumored to be willing to go all in to secure a player whose bat can alter the trajectory of a season. Imagine the long balls flying over Yankee Stadium, Guerrero stepping to the plate with that calm but intimidating presence, ready to deliver yet another highlight reel hit. Insiders hint that the negotiations have been intense, with the Blue Jays reluctant to part with their franchise cornerstone, but aware that Guerrero's talent could fetch a historic return. Meanwhile, the Yankees are reportedly leveraging their financial clout and championship aspirations, dangling a deal that combines serious money with a promise of big market glory. The whispers in the corridors of MLB suggest that a contract is close, though final details remain shrouded in secrecy. Fans can hardly contain their excitement at the mere thought. Guerrero's unique combination of strength, technique, and baseball IQ makes him one of the most coveted players in the game. If the rumors hold any truth, we could be witnessing a seismic shift in the balance of power in the American League. The Bronx Bombers, already a storied franchise, might be about to write a new chapter, powered by the bat and the legend of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. As the offseason heats up, keep your ears open and your screens ready. In a league where whispers can turn into headlines overnight, this story is one to watch closely. Could Guerrero really be the next Yankee to spark a dynasty? The rumor mill is turning, and baseball fans everywhere are holding their breath. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.